In business, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, of course, has approved an increase of 300% in electricity tariff for Band A consumers in the country. Vice Chairman of NERC made this known in Abuja, stating that it will only affect 15% of electricity consumers in the power value chain. Reacting immediately to this development, an energy expert, Mr. Adetayo Adegbemle, on our flagship business program, Business Nigeria, threw more light on this development.
The increments only affect the Band A customers, and these Band A customers are the customers that have at the minimum 20 hours of power supply per day. That is one. So it is not an increment that affects every band. If you are on Band B, if you don't have up to 20 hours per day supply power per day, this does not affect you. That is one. Two, initially we have about over 800 feeders across the country that are on Band A, that the discos identified to be on Band A, which means that those Band A, those feeders will have a minimum of 800, a minimum of 20 hours of power supply per day. Now, what NERC has done is to do an audit of these feeders, and out of the 800, less than 500 of them qualify to be a Band A feeder. So that's part of the things that consumers should also be on the lookout for. And part of the things that we're also trying to, what part we are trying to push for now is that NERC should publish the list of these feeders, so that if you wrongly identify me as a Band A customer and I don't receive up to 20 hours per day, I can easily flag it with the discos and with the regulators.
Away from that, Nigeria's leading listed conglomerate Transnational Corporation PLC has reinforced its market leadership, with its revenue rising to 197 billion naira in 2023 from 134 billion naira in 2022, representing a 47.3% increase. This strong performance is a demonstration of the group's strategic focus and effective execution. Total assets grew by 20% to 529.9 billion naira in 2023 compared to 442.7 billion in December 2023. Operating expenses increased by 22.6% year-on-year to hit 26.9 billion naira in 2023, reflecting impact of inflation. Profit before tax surged by 93.5%, amounting to 58.8 billion naira in 2023, higher than 30.4 billion naira in the same period last year, while profit after tax improved 91% year-on-year to 32.6 billion naira in 2023 compared to 17.1 billion in the same period last year. Also, earnings per share was 40 naira compared to 19 naira in 2022. President, Group Chief Executive Officer of Transcorp Group, Dr. Omar Jaffer, restates the group's commitment to achieving sustainable growth, enhance operational and technical efficiency, maximizing value for shareholders amidst a dynamic market landscape. The Nigerian Railway Corporation reports a growing trend in cargo movement by rail, with importers and exporters recognizing the benefits of rail transportation. Currently, the corporation handles 35 wagons of 40-foot containers on the standard gauge and 19 wagons on the narrow gauge on a daily basis from the seaports. Ifunaya Eze reports.
Increasing cargo movement by rail holds significant implications, notably in alleviating congestion at Nigeria's ports. Speaking on the Lagos District Rail operations, Mr. Augustine Arisa, the district manager, highlighted the growing momentum of cargo movement by rail. He emphasized that by diverting a portion of cargo to rail, ports can operate more efficiently, reducing dwell time for vessels and expediting the clearance process for goods.
We do a rake, at least a rake a day on the standard gauge. That's a rake of 35 wagons to APMC in a day. We do 2 rakes of 19 wagons each to APMC. That's on a narrow gauge. When you use the rail, as your cargo is coming in, as your container is coming in, we are taking it straight to the port. There is no waiting time. Compared to when you are going by road, you have to wait for collar up, you have to wait for your tally, you have to wait for all those. When you are going by batch, you have the tendency of your container falling into the ocean, and that's the end of them. But such situations does not arise with use of fuel.
He noted that a streamlined cargo movement by rail translates to enhanced trade competitiveness for port traders as it reduces transit times and costs.
The length of time it takes you to evacuate your container gets back to the final consumer, because when your container stays so much in the port, that amounts to a lot of demurrage, that amounts to the money that the final consumer is going to pay for the goods, because at the end of the day, the importer will transfer everything to the final consumer. So if you use the rail, that helps to reduce your costs.
Mr. Arisa further emphasized that leveraging rail networks can streamline the movement of goods and enhance supply chain efficiency, ultimately benefiting Nigeria's trade sector. Ifunanya Eze, TVC News, Lagos.
The Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria has held a day of tribute in honor of its 13th former president, Dr. Cyril Ekemefuna Ede, who passed away on March 3, 2024. The tribute, which took place at the Secretariat of the CITN in Lagos, provided an avenue for members of the Institute, friends and well-wishers to pay tribute to the family of a former leader who they described as a great influencer who is self-service to humanity. Dr. Ede was instrumental to coming on board of the 2019 Financial Act under former President Muhammadu Buhari when he led the CITN delegation on a visit to Aso Villa, where he called for the implementation of key tax recommendations that would usher in reforms in the nation's tax system and turn around the economic dilemmas of the economy.
He was not just focused on the internal growth, he was also passionate about our impact in the Nigerian tax system. Under his leadership, CITN actively participated in tax reforms and advocated for closer relationship with political institutions at both federal and state levels.
During his period, engagement with government officials was the hallmark, and as we listened to the people who spoke, it was under his regime that we visited Aso Rock, and we had audience with President Buhari. And that particular meeting with the president of the country set the background to the coming of a Finance Act that President Buhari introduced from 2019.
He was a man who wore so many coats. He had so many responsibilities across various fields. He was a very wonderful father. He was a very wonderful husband. He lived a life of service from his young age. As a young man in the village, everything he did was to help others, was to set the path for others to follow.
Finally, the stock market locked down on market sectors as shares prices fail. In mid-trade, the Fiongekop report will be back with sports news.
The securities market slowed down its pace of price movement, crashing shares values in key sectors. The development comes after several weeks of rising prices in the market, which encouraged profit takings by investors. Market index dropped by 0.32%, stressing losses. It was First Bank Holdings that lost the heaviest amount, calculated at about 5%. Access Holdings, UBA, Zenith and GT Holdings all lost values at different percentages. NGX Group was top with a 5% gain, followed by Vitafoam, Nigeria Police Microfinance Bank, Dangote Sugar and Flour Mills. Over 4 million units of shares worth 8.9 billion naira were traded in the market sectors. Across Africa, markets closed in mixed directions with various trade results. The stock exchange in Johannesburg, South Africa closed in red, depicting investors' losses on equities, bonds and ETFs markets. The Nairobi Exchange in Kenya closed positively following renewed interest in stock picks by fund managers. Finally, we checked on the market in Tunisia, which dropped its trade pattern in red. The rush by investors to go out of some equities crashed market prices. Ifyong Ekop, TVC News, Lagos.